So the other stuff that we have working on like bigger stuff, it has a very loosely defined finish line, and so it like adds to that effect. That like I guess I can just go down here and just like walk in that direction for a while until I get bored. I don't know. I don't like that. I don't like it. Need like a vacation goal or a completion goal or a some kind of little win, some little thing to steer toward.
Besides the motorcycle.
See, even in the motorcycle, like the motorcycle, I know there is a finish line, but I have no idea where it is.
Wouldn't wouldn't riding it be the finish line?
But I don't know how to get to that finish line. It's like I'm looking down at the track. Well, I'm honestly I'm afraid. I was thinking about it the other day. Like it is, in my opinion, it's Schrodinger's motorcycle. So I'm afraid to try to start it because I don't want to know that it doesn't work.
Right. It has a chance of working before you
Yeah.
do it. Yeah.
So before I try to push that button, it both works fine and doesn't work at all simultaneously.
So it has a higher chance of working if you never start
Isn't
it.
that what you did yesterday though when you tried to start it?
Yes, and I was terrified. And I'm like, okay, theoretically, the cat should be in this box. And so I like lift up a little piece, like I go to push the button and nothing happens. I go, well, crap. It doesn't mean that the cat is dead. That just means that the little piece of the box I looked in did not have the cat in it. The cat could be in another part of the box. And so I go, well, if this thing didn't work, maybe it's because of these reasons. And I take the thing apart and I clean it and I put it back on. And I logic through it. I'm like, okay, I think I fixed the problem. And then I go, let's look in the box again. Let's give it a little start. And then it clicks but doesn't do anything. I'm like, well, that's kind of progress. But then I have to open the box a little bit more. And then today, like I took the starter out and the whole thing is garbage. And a replacement part I have seen that swings from $330 for a replacement part to like $70 to $80 for the same replacement part. But yeah, so I don't really know what I'm getting into, but I'm afraid to make enough progress at the point where I realize like, oh, this was a huge waste of time. This thing does not work at all, and all the work that you did was just like spinning tires. So it's a I want to make progress on things that I can visibly be proud of without going like, oh, you did all that for no reason because the heart of this thing sucks and it's broken and everything you did was a waste of time. And so
See that?
got a short cat shirt.
What are the chances?
That's perfect.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what that motorcycle is. There is a point where I will find whether it is absolutely alive or it is super dead, and I'm afraid to get to that point. I tried to get to it, and it still hasn't revealed a definitive answer yet. So that's where I say that I don't know where the
Yeah.
finish line is.
That's kind of like me and Voltron and how it was with Firefly, because I know there's an end to those series, and I held off watching the last episode as long as I could for Firefly, because I was like, it's going to end. I don't want it to end. If I don't watch it, it hasn't ended yet, right? So and I obviously
You're
did.
talking the TV series?
Yeah, TV series. And then when Voltron, that's obviously not on the air anymore either. Like the Netflix, they did the last season, but I haven't finished that last season yet because I don't want it to end.
It's pretty good.
Even
Yeah.
though Firefly didn't really have an end, like an ending to the TV series, like you would expect an ending to be. It was
Well,
just
right. Well, I just knew I had
an
the
episode.
I had the DVDs, right? So I knew where the last episode was. That's what I mean. Like
Okay,
I put off watching it. Yeah.
because Serenity would kind of technically be the end of.
Yeah,
Firefly.
but I watched that first because I didn't know any different. I just watched a sci-fi back in the day. I know how terrible. I didn't know there was an associated TV show. Somehow I didn't know that.
So
and-
you're sitting there and you're like, "I'm a leaf on the wind," and you're like, "I have no emotional
but-
response to this moment."
Right. I'm like, oh, that sucks. He died. But then between that,
I've never seen the show before.
and it's okay. You should watch
I've
it.
never seen
I'm
It's nowhere. The show is nowhere. You can't get mad at me. I can't watch it. It's nowhere. It doesn't exist anymore.
I'm jealous that you have never seen it because I would love to see it again for the first time. But yeah, like I watched the movie and I didn't know there was a TV show associated with it. And the movie is standalone, a great sci-fi movie on its own, without anything else. And there was such a span of time between them that I forgot really all that happened in the movie between the time I watched the movie and the TV show, because the preferential order is TV show then movie, but I didn't know any different. And then I watched the movie again. And I'm like, oh, I really didn't remember anything because it was like at least 5 years between them.
Yeah, Firefly was one of those things that my wife and I were sitting around one day and, you know, we were discussing, and we're like, you know, was Firefly really that good? Like, was it as good in reality as we make it out to be in our imagination? Like, are we romanticizing this TV show to be more than what it really was? And so we're like, okay, let's put an end to this discussion. We sat down and we watched Firefly, the first episode, and we're like, no, it was that good.
Yep. Yeah.
Otherwise, it turns into like, you know, revisionist history here.
It's like, yeah.
Maybe that's what I am afraid of with the motorcycle. Is right now the motorcycle is cool. It represents stuff. I can eventually ride it. And I don't want to know that it was not as good as I have it built up in my head.
But the before and after alone, by itself, is extraordinary.
It's been a puzzle, right? The whole thing is like, it's a jigsaw puzzle. Jigsaw puzzles are completely worthless. Like, you don't do anything. You just sit there and you take stuff that's broken, you put it together for a little bit, and the majority of the time you break it again and put it back in a box. Like, it's an exercise. And so far, this motorcycle has been an exercise. It doesn't do anything so far. And honestly, I'm pretty scared to ride the thing. Like, if it started right now, I would not ride it. I don't know how to ride it. So then it would just be another, like, yay, it's a puzzle that moves.
And what could possibly go wrong?
So the next
Yeah, like,
one
I
is
don't
how to
know
ride
any
it.
better.
How many
Someone told me
cc's is this motorcycle?
220?
Okay, so you could get going.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can get up to highway speed. So, like, it's a
speed.
motorcycle.
So just put it on a treadmill.
Well, it's on a center stand. So a little, like,
Uh-huh.
the little bow legs fold down, and so the back wheel is up off the ground, but the front wheel's still touching. So I could get the rear tire spinning without it
Sure.
actually contacting the ground. I'd be scared because I don't know what to
Killer
do.
moment.
I think it's going to explode at any given moment.
Just set up like a tetherball kind of pillar and just like ride in circles like a tetherball, like with it, like a circus
Zero
bear.
Doom or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's when it's the scariest. Somebody told me, like, to avoid the whole starting issue, like, I live on a hill, and they're like, just put it in neutral and just coast down the hill, and then boom, it'll start. You'll just, like, you pop the clutch in a car. I'm like, yeah, I guess I could do that.
So test the brakes right off the bat.
Oh, I know the brakes are crap. Like, I've replaced the brake pads, but the actual brake controls probably don't work worth a damn. So, like, it looks pretty, but there's little things I'm super gonna die if this thing actually works. And I don't want to be that person. I want it to still be this cool, like, neat thing. Not to, like, this moron on Instagram rebuilt this motorcycle and died like 5 seconds after he got on the thing. Because in my mind, that is
to getting it running.
yeah, like, that is the most predictable course of action in my mind right now. That I get on it and I fall over, just like Homer in the Sphere of Death. Or I like, okie dokie, let's put this thing in first gear, or it explodes. Or like I go forward and I get hit by a bus, or I fall off and I have no face, or something stupid. So that's where, like, the cat might not be dead, I might be dead. So it's a whole whirlwind of emotion. I just want the thing
You
to look.
put a lot of thought into this.
Well, we make silly stuff at I Like to Make Stuff. We don't have a
Death
lot
traps.
of really huge projects with a lot of gravitas. Like the tree house. Like, that tree house will stand for a long time. People climb on it. We want it to last, like, forever. So if we make, like, a silly robot arm out of EVA foam, you can put that thing on and take it off. You're not going to go 50 miles an hour down the road on your EVA foam robot arm.
There were no stakes.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm nervous about the whole thing for a lot of different reasons, I suppose. But it is a puzzle. And it's a fun puzzle. Even though I realize, like, oh, wow, this whole thing is broken. I'm kind of proud of myself that I was able to find the broken thing. But then I'm like, okay, so if I replace this, it's one step closer to working, which is good, I think. Hooray! Like, I don't know. I still think I can sell it for a profit. When and if I did get it working. Oh, somebody today, I forgot. Somebody on Instagram reached out, saw all this craziness, and is giving me a bunch of safety equipment. I just have to pay for shipping. They got rid of their motorcycle. They're roughly the same size. And they just want to give me their stuff. And so I paid for shipping. So I have like a helmet and some boots, and I don't remember what else the guy was telling me all about.
That's great.
Yeah,
Now you're gonna have to ride the thing.
I suppose. It's one less thing keeping me from riding it. Hooray.
Great.
You're gonna keep on getting stuff sent to you, so you have fewer excuses to actually go through and do this thing.
Yep.
Somebody send Josh some brakes.
The brakes work. I need a brake
Or a
cable, which is
motorcycle
not expensive.
instructor.
Yeah.
That's what
There's
you
a
need.
safety course.
You should build one.
Man, people on Instagram are like, oh, you live near Louisville, like, here's a motorcycle safety course. Here's their information. I looked it up for you. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's very nice of you. I'm like, holy crap.
It's getting real.
So there's gonna be
People are
Patreon
really
gold to get
happy that
Josh
I'm-
motorcycle classes.
Yeah. People are caring that I'm doing this puzzle.
You should bring
Oh,
the motorcycle up there and have the instructor try it first.
We're gonna spray paint a cat on the back of your jacket.
I'm going to start my own motorcycle club.
Schrodinger's motorcycle.
Yep.
Are we riding or are we not?
Does it work? I'm not sure. It works and doesn't work at the same time. So what have you guys been doing to try to make yourself a finish line of some kind? Do you have one?
Well, I just reached the one for my current project.
Ooh, we're going on a tour. West spun us
It's
around.
cool.
It's very bright. Very bright.
So does that mean everybody's online right now?
Well, I'm debating. So normally I want it. So there's two things I could start off. So I'm showing my Minecraft sign for those of you listening. Probably not in your car because there's no commuting anymore. But basically, it's a Minecraft notification sign. Each letter is backlit and assigned to a different player on this Minecraft server. And so whenever a specific player gets online, their respective letter will illuminate with a certain color that I can also define. And I'm trying to determine what the best default is. Like, do I like it where it's like this by default all the
Which is
time?
like white letters?
Yeah. Or should I have it like not illuminated at all? When there's nobody in the server, what's its default resting state? Or should it be darkened and it'll only illuminate like that when I'm in there, but nobody else? So it'll show like, hey, it's Minecraft time. Yay, here's a sign. Kind of like a recording light. I don't know. Like I'm actively in the server. And then it'll be white by default if I'm online in the server, and then other people's colors will start populating. I'm not sure kind of what direction to go. It's like one of the last things I have to do. Like physically, I'm done making it. The box is all glued up and finished, and literally finished with Danish oil. Why do I hear myself?
Whoa. Whoa.
Whoa.
Oh, it only did it one time. Dang.
So I've just been toying with that. So I'm working on the video, but as far as finish line, I got to come up with another project, which I have plenty on the plate. I just got to choose which one I want to eat next. I've also considered maybe doing like a choose your own adventure thing at the end, where people can vote on what project I do next. I don't know.
I've never heard of anybody ever doing something like that on the internet.
I know. Who'd have thought?
Donovan, what's your next finish line? Are you doing another choose your adventure thing?
I was going to with my Legend of Zelda cabinet because I made the one completely out of hand tools, and I was going to make one completely out of power tools. But the one that was completely out of hand tools, like, bowed.
Yeah.
And the wood, I mean, it was pine. It wasn't very expensive wood. And that's what happens when you have cheap wood. And so the doors don't shut and everything's off kilter, and it doesn't look very good at all. So I took it off the wall. I put up wall control panels in my shop instead of the tool cabinet. So that was going to be a choose your own adventure thing, but I'd have to rebuild. I'd have to rebuild 2 more at this point. So now I'm just working on my Star Wars desk. I'm still waiting on the legs, and in the meantime, trying to figure out what else to do. Wanted to get some of my technology equipment up and running. That didn't work out, and ever since that didn't work out, I kind of haven't done anything, just because being busy at work and then coming home and not having energy to do anything or motivation because I keep breaking everything. I feel bad that, like, I haven't done anything.
Didn't I see an Instagram story where your laser cutter was actually cutting with lasers?
It was running. It wasn't cutting though.
So it was moving the head around, but it wasn't doing anything?
It was there's a power issue, shall we say.
Hmm. Oh, so you can engrave, but you can't cut.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well,
So,
Sean, besides growing an insanely amazing head of hair and face of hair, what have you been doing?
Mainly work, and I don't know. It feels like I've been doing a lot, but really not accomplishing a lot. I think being tired has kind of prevented a little bit of that, and I think some of the cabin fever is really starting to set in. I did good for like the first 5 weeks, but the last 2 weeks have been, they've been kind of slow going. I've been working on a pinball project I've been wanting to do for a long time. I got about a quarter of the way done with the initial build of the cardboard pinball system, and then I sat down trying to figure out a theme, and then I finally decided on a theme. I'm really excited about it. I've drawn it out in a sketchbook, but I have not done anything else about it yet. But I really need to. I'll probably lift my mood a little bit to actually make some progress on it. But yeah, I'm in a way I'm just waiting for school to be done. I still have. There's a lot of weird things kind of in the wings that I'm doing. I have meetings all different weird times of the day, so I get these weird stretches. And after I get off of an hour-long meeting, I don't feel like doing much other than going in the other room and sitting down or going outside and getting some sunlight. So I'm hoping that I can get some better self-discipline to actually make some things happen.
Have you guys noticed that even in the pursuit of the things that you want to do, if you hit like a small little snag, lately it has set you back, like, mentally more than it usually would?
It's frustrating. I would like to think higher of myself of being able to get myself to do things, but it's been tough. It's been tough the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like little hurdles have become anchors.
Right, like, oh, I can't find the battery for my drill. I guess I'm not drilling anything for the next week.
Yeah, you're like, ugh.
It's a great way of putting it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been feeling that way.
I did that today. I was trying to find a screwdriver.
See?
I'm like, where's the freaking screwdriver? I'm like, well, you know what? I'm about done. And then I walked away, and I turned around, and the screwdriver
It's right
was
there.
literally like sitting right beside where I was. And I was
Yeah.
like, well,
Yeah.
I guess I
I was stepping over the damn drill and the drill battery to get to the drill bits where I literally had a drill bit in my hand. I was like manually, just because it was something different to do, I was manually drilling a hole through a 1/8 inch piece of birch plywood. So it was easy. It was kind of fun to like do it by hand tool, right? Literal hand drill. But yeah, I stepped over the drill because I looked for it for a moment. I don't know where it is. I looked upstairs. We used it on the camper. Looked in the garage. I'll find it at some point. And I literally stepped over it to get to the space in my shop because my shop is a wreck. And yeah, and then after I finished the damn hole, I came back around. I'm like, seriously, it's right there. Ugh.
And on a side note, I'm temporarily tired of 3D printing. We just finished printing 1,000 of those ear extender things we've been donating. I'm a little bit tired of that. I'm the stupid maker bots and troubleshooting all that to finally get them to print without a raft.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thanks. I didn't even know it was possible. Well, it was actually thanks to who was it? Mark Schiefermeyer, and then you, Josh, too, just saying, no, you got to get it closer, and finally doing it. And then I found a way to manually level the MakerBot, which I didn't even think was an option, but I found it kind of buried deep in their menu system. They're a lot like Apple in that way. And I got these perfect smooth bottom 3D prints from those stupid machines. Still not as good as my Ender, but still pretty good. And just what a pain. I have a 10-pound box of plastic waste from all the rafts that we were printing initially.
What am I doing? I have a print right now going because my neighbor and I are doing like a joint landscaping project because I live on a hill and the drainage from my yard kind of goes into his yard and like sits in a little gully, and it's right like in between our houses. So we're splitting the costs of making this big drainage pipe. So like the downspouts, we have a sump pump here in the basement, like the pool drain, like his downspouts and all that stuff. Like we're tying them all together in a joint effort and like pushing it out way back in the back by like a horse pasture. And so I had to come up with a coupling for this 1.5, I think it's 1.5 PVC pipe to this like big black corrugated plastic stuff. And so that's what I'm printing right now. I modeled it in Fusion, and I have it printing in PETG. And yeah, we printed off some of those face shields. And like I finally found somebody who actually wants them. It was the dentist office, like where I got my Invisalign. I went in the other day for a checkup, which was really fun. I had to get my temperature checked. They gave me a mask. I had to like decontaminate myself. And I had to wear the mask all the way up to like reclining all the way back in the chair. And I'm like, you are going to need to look at my teeth, right? And they're like, yeah, go ahead and take your mask off. And so I did it, and then they checked, and they had the little plastic things, the little plastic sheety things over their face. And they had some that were made out of foam and like Velcro. And I asked him where they got it. He's like, oh, I had to buy all these, and we don't have that many. I'm like, oh, I can get you some. I got a whole bunch of them. Nobody wanted them. So I'm going to take the stack that I have and go give them to them, see if they can knock off some money off my Invisalign.
It's funny you mentioned the dentist thing, because I had a similar experience. It's probably a month ago now, but I went in to get like a root canal started. Yay! At a new dent. My current dentist is closed. They referred me to this one, which was still open at the time. And I go in there, and like they have like all the hand sanitizer. You kind of check in, and they're like, "Oh, you just use a pen." It's like, please dispose of the pen in the trash. It's like one-time use pens. Yeah, high roller place. Yeah. Okay. And the receptionist was like all the way on the other side of the room, and like I guess she like prepped all the stuff I needed before I came in there, because they were like one person at a time, like patient wise. And so I get in there, and the person's like, "Oh, just take a seat here in the chair, and the Alexa will come on, and you'll talk to the doctor." And it was like one of the Alexa shows or whatever, like the screen. Yeah, I'm sitting there in the chair, and there's like basically a tablet right here, and it's like ding, and it's the person I just talked to, like literally in the room, like at normal distance. She had a mask on. She didn't have any plastic covering, but she went around to the other like stall that another person would be receiving dentist treatment in, like not that far away, but just physically separated. And she came on the screen, and she's like, "So what seems to be the trouble today?" I'm just like, this is weird. I'm like, well, I came in to get this and this and that, and here's the referral. They're, okay, well, the doctor will be here in a minute. And then he like sits down next door. I can hear him talking through that and like in real life, right? Through technology. And he's like, "Oh yeah, let me see." And I'm like holding my mouth open to the camera on the tablet. I'm like, this is so stupid. Like, all right,
all right, Mr. Swain, pick up that stabby pokey thing, and then the little drill.
And I'm just like, is this like I don't know how this is like really practical. Are they just waiting to see if I end up coughing? They also took my temperature as well. But yeah, I don't know if they're just waiting to see if I exhibit a symptom before they get closer to me. But then after, obviously, okay, well, yeah, we'll start the procedure. Then they come over there and they do the normal dentist stuff at normal distance. But they had, they were dressed to the gills and protective stuff. But that little interaction before that, I was just like chuckling. I mean, they're coming up with new procedures to try to make it more comfortable and more safe. But
everything in that room, I am not supervised.
But then the thing is, everything had like these like peel away like the handles for the sink and the doorknobs. They all had like these little cellophane blue things on them. I guess they tear them away and replace them. But they gave me a pair of headphones to wear and put on my head to listen to music while they're doing the first part of the root canal thing. That didn't have anything on it.
They might disinfect those.
Maybe, but there was little inconsistencies that I'm like, And then at Harris Teeter, they were super, wiping all the carts down, keeping distance. So you hear recordings come on. It's a local grocery store, by the way, Harris Teeter. I don't know if in California you've heard of such a thing. But we were walking through and there's like the announcement like rolling, like, thank you for shopping, keep your distance, 6 feet, blah, blah, blah. And they put stickers on the ground and, hand sanitizer wipes when you get the cart. And then you're in the line and the way they there's no conveyor belt there. You push the cart all the way up to the person at the cash register and they go from the cart to the scan and then put it on the table or the turntable for like someone to bag it, which is kind of cool. You don't ever have to like unload your groceries for them to put it in another bag, which I like. But then as they're unloading your cart, as the receiving table, after they scan and bag the stuff, they take that stuff and put it in a new cart that's sitting there idle, which is the previous person that checked out's cart. Like basically you end up exchanging a cart, basically.
Like to do at Aldi, yeah.
Yeah, but they didn't sanitize that. So now, I'm like, well, here's a gap in your procedure. Thinking, there's no...
Right.
The previous person just touched this, like you're doing they had like the safety shield things up and all these other things. It's just like, this is a normal part of their procedure that they kind of just are so used to doing. They don't realize it's a hole. So it's just like little things like that. It's kind of interesting how things are changing.
The new normal that everybody calls it.
Yeah. I mean, you had the people at the, in Raleigh just this week where they were like some pictures of folks that were doing like the protesting at the state capitol, and they walked in. They were at a Subway because there's open carry in North Carolina, so they walked in. One guy had like a rocket launcher, literal rocket launcher.
Dude had an AT-4 strapped to his back.
Yeah, at Subway.
Shut up.
I saw those pictures.
Yeah, that was from Raleigh. That's like 10 miles from me. Yeah.
Yeah, that guy with the stupid anti-tank rocket, fake one, on his back. My goodness. That could be a whole conversation about a whole bunch of people protesting with all their guns and all their stupid gear. There are very, very few veterans that have actually served in war and that stuff that look at those people and go like, yeah, that's totally a great idea. You should totally do that. Bunch of idiots. You can't walk into a courthouse. I had to go get my driver's license at the courthouse here. I had to go through a metal detector. They took my keys. They scanned all my stuff. I had a handcuff key, and they took it from me. But you can walk into the state capitol dressed like you're a stinking Delta operator with your beer belly hanging out and a stupid rocket launcher on your back. That's okay.
But not a handcuff key. Yeah.
Not a handcuff key. I don't know. I'm all for people's rights, but I don't see how that is not in any way like a takeover in some fashion. There's like a really lazy takeover. Like we're just going to hang out until we get bored, then we're going to leave. I hate this as much as the next person, but I see this as a social experiment. And I think all those people that are carrying their guns and all their stuff, you talk about people's rights, but it sure seems like you only care about your rights and not everybody else's rights, and you're not part of the team.
And the people that are paying for your you expressing your freedom to do that are the people that are staying at home that are going to catch the stuff that you're spreading further than it would have been spread if you had
From
not
the
been
handle
there.
of the shopping cart at grocery
Exactly.
store.
Right. And the people
No.
and the people that are home, they can't protest that they want to stay at home because they're literally following the rules and staying at home. So
Yeah, I like you guys. I really do. I've gotten some bad arguments this week, and it's nice talking to people that I would consider more level-headed.
and the
Well,
person,
I would imagine that the people that would like go out to a protest, right? If we're talking about a bell curve of society, people that are like, we're gonna go protest, that have been driven outside of the fat part of that bell curve, so irritated one way or the other. You're an American, you have the right to protest, do it. Right? You're starting to push out towards the center because everybody else is like, well, that sucks, but I'm gonna kind of take one for the team, even though it's really frustrating. And then like the tiny little tips of the bell curve are jackasses with rocket launchers at Subway and people with pictures of like aborted babies. Like that ridiculous stuff in the end to try to make your point. Like, yes, you're allowed to make that point. But why are you making that point, and does it further your cause? Like, are you really doing any good for you? Which, hooray for you. You're an American. You're one of all of us. Like, not just you, not just your people. I hate this just like everybody else hates this. That doesn't mean I'm going to go get a whole bunch of guns and intimidate a whole bunch of lawmakers. That's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
I think we're gonna have a mass exodus from California.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
Is Elon going to lead everybody out with his staff? And
No, I think he's going to go one direction. Everybody else is going to go a different one. Just, I don't know. The state's about ready to split in two. Not the first time, but probably the worst it's been.
I saw a joke news outlet that had the state of Texas puts the Welcome to Texas sign over the Welcome to Oklahoma sign so that all the people fleeing California go there instead.
They'll
Because
settle in
everybody
Austin
thinks
anyways.
like going to Texas is just like magical freedom where everything is super great. And I mean, that could be true. I don't know.
Texas is
I like
mad at
it.
California, so they've taken over Austin, made it more progressive.
I don't know.
Yeah, there's been a lot of that here too. Protests and stuff.
Like I said, we went on a road trip a couple weeks ago to the Capitol just to go see what the Capitol like, and there was a protest there. And my son was like, "What are these crazy people doing?" I'm like, "Well, don't go that far. Like, you can't categorize people as like they're insane or they're crazy, even though I mean, on some level they probably are. Like, they're mad, and they're choosing as Americans to voice their concerns to the publicly elected officials that are in power. Like, that is what we can do. That's amazing that we can do that. It's amazing on some weird relative scale that you can scream at a lawmaker while fully covered in combat gear with a loaded weapon that soldiers are meant to carry. Like, you're just like allowed to do that. And that's cool with everybody.
While yelling that their freedoms are being infringed on.
the exact same argument came up in 1918 during the Spanish flu. There was a whole group of people that refused to wear masks when going in public, and it's the exact same reaction. And there was like a huge campaign to convert them, and it was also like an affront to how men felt masculine at the time. It was also like the reason it spread so badly was because of personal hygiene, and the men don't want to use soap because we're men, that kind of thing. Like, obviously we're further along now, but you can just kind of extrapolate manliness by being dirty, right? Like, boys were going to be dirty, that kind of thing. Like, that's how grown-up men were more so back then, and they were like trying to cling to their sense of masculinity by associating not wearing a mask because it's going to make them look weak in public, which we've heard. So there was like this huge public campaign to try to convince them socially and try to change the social norm to make it acceptable to wear a mask, from their perspective, and eventually they did. But it's exact 100 years ago. It's craziness. I find there's several articles coming out about it, but it's disgusting and gross and crazy.
Do you guys wear masks when you go out now?
When we walk through the neighborhood, like on the sidewalk, we're not. But when I go to grocery stores and Lowe's, I will.
I didn't until the dentist gave me one, and I started, and then I made my Sub-Zero 3D printed mask, and I have the doctor's mask on the inside of that. And so it's part of it is just like being a smart aleck about it.
Right.
Have you worn the Sub-Zero 3D the 3D printed mask in public?
Yeah, that's what I wear. I have it in the Jeep right now.
Okay, so has anybody noticed like what it is? Been like,
yeah,
hey.
A couple people. I get approving nods from a couple people, and other people just don't care. Like I go to Lowe's. I went to Ace Hardware the other day in it. I wore it to the grocery store. I went to go get some crickets for my son's bearded dragon at the pet store the other day, and that place was locked up like a dolphin's butt. This stinking pet store. So
we'll
the
revisit
lady
that.
stops me, and she was like, "Do you have a mask?" Because I didn't at the time. I was riding around the Jeep. I take it off because it's kind of a pain, and so I sit there, and she's like, "Do you have a mask?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, I do. I guess like I could stomp my ground and pitch a fit like a freaking man baby, or I can do a thing that really causes me no harm, just so I can get what I want. We're compromising here." So I'm like, "Yeah, sure, whatever. I'll go get it." And then the like 19-year-old girl with like a lizard on her shoulder because that's just what she has at the pet store. She was like, "That mask is awesome."
Should be reptile
like, "Hey,
though,
cool."
not Sub-Zero.
Yeah, but I'm like, I just got affirmation that it's not emasculating. Like, part of me is nerdy cool right now in some way. But I will take the rocket launcher on my back metaphorical stance to it's emasculating to wear a mask, right? I'll go the AT4 on my back, devil's advocate. We're like, why do you wear a shirt? Like, you're a man. You can take your shirt off and walk around. Like, business tries to make me wear a shirt and shoes? This is ridiculous. That infringes on my freedoms. Like, that is such a
First it's
slippery
pants,
slope.
now it's shirts. Ugh.
This is garbage. So,
Yeah.
It causes no harm. And if you're really going to cause a big fuss like that, then you're a freaking whiny baby. And you're looking out for yourself. You're not looking out for everybody else. And I could stand in the middle of Kroger with that stupid mask on and not know anybody else around me, not know if anybody else has this fictitious possible thing that I can't see or smell or hear. But we're all in this together. So if we're all going to look like a bunch of idiots for the greater good, whatever happened, that greater good happens to be. Because I'm not so self-centered to believe that just because I can't see it or I don't know somebody on a first-name basis, which I actually do, that has it, it can't affect me. So I'm above these things. And I think that attitude is very American, very conservative, and very childish. And it upsets me to see a bunch of those arrogant children with stinking guns taking over people's Capitol buildings that represent everybody, that don't just represent them. And that makes me very, very angry when I see that. But it doesn't make me so angry that I go out and go get my guns and go confront them, because that would also be very selfish and stupid. And
Is this where we start chanting Josh's name?
no, this is garbage. And I want to go find that guy that has a freaking rocket launcher and ask him if he knows how to use it and how much it weighs and what the max effective area is. And if he doesn't know, then he has to give it away because it's a toy. Freaking babies. A bunch of babies playing army. Ugh. The robots and the aliens are never going to come and try to take us over. There's never going to be this 80s moment where everybody's going to be like, it's time now. I can wear all my eBay body armor.
Let's go.
They need me.
They need.
I don't know. The Pentagon just did release those UFO videos, so
It's all well timed.
Right. Look, shiny thing. Look over here.
So is everybody gonna shoot up in the sky? Like they don't need you, man. They don't need you. I promise you. Jim Bob, put your crap away. Nobody needs you right now. They need you to go put a mask on. That is how you be a superhuman right now. Is to calm down, to take a breath, to put your stupid gun away, go get a mask and wait 6 feet behind somebody at the grocery store like everybody else. That's how you fight the power. That's how you make your stance. Is that you endure.
I don't want to stand next to people anyways.
I don't like standing next to people. I don't
Right.
like people. I don't like people in general. I love that I can go through a self-checkout and not touch a single person.
The same way.
Hooray! Embrace that. But I think it is funny, is that the person who challenged me the most on my COVID-19 preparation was an old lady at a pet store who didn't want me to get crickets. Like, that is the most pushback I have gotten. Not from the sheriff or the governor or the president or the whoever. Old lady at the pet store. Put me in my place.
Pet store has it on lockdown.
Like a dolphin's butt.
You never heard that before? It's sealed up
No.
like a dolphin.
No.
Watertight. That's from Airheads. I didn't make that up.
It'd be a good campaign slogan.
We should all watch that movie.
There's already a petition for a T-shirt, so
Yep.
somebody needs to make it happen.
Go for it, Donovan.
I just see a piercing near the dolphin's butt. It's like a padlock.
We talked about underrated movies. We talked about what was that? Firefly, Airheads. That is an underrated movie. Adam Sandler, Steve Buscemi, and who else? The guy who squeezed the juice in Encino Man, Brendan Fraser.
Might be a good turning point for geeking out and stuff. Talk about
Yeah.
different things.
I'm geeking out about carrying machine guns in public places, you guys. Who? Get her done. I don't know what the battle cry is now.
Is that really what you're geeking out about?
No.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, you can't see. No, Jared, if he was still around, he would have something to say about carrying rocket launchers in Subway. Yeah. What am I geeking out about? I introduced Samantha to some Jim Carrey. I started showing her Dumb and Dumber.
Such a
She's
good movie.
she's never seen like a comedy like that. Like
I've
it's,
never seen that movie.
It's so stupid.
What?
I can't bring myself to sit down and watch that movie.
I can't talk to you right now.
Wow.
Yeah, I figured that'd be your response.
But she didn't know what to laugh at because it's like they're so like I don't know.
All of it is ridiculous. So
It's
you don't
ridiculous,
know-
but she's not used to seeing adults like that. Just that type of comedy is like completely new to her. She doesn't know because they're being serious, like they're being silly, but they're
believe it.
they're completely oblivious to how dumb they are, right? And all the stuff that happens around them and all this, and it's just. I kept looking over to see if she's laughing, and she looked more confused than just like, is this something I'm supposed to laugh at? Is this something I'm supposed to laugh at? There's just situational stuff.
have killer boots, man.
Right, like taping a parakeet's head on, like that whole scene. She was just like
He fell off the gangway. He's a limo driver.
right. Oh man,
Back when you could run through an airport
I know.
to the gate.
Right. It's okay.
Oh,
It was
man.
the-
Driver.
It was the before times.
We watched
Before
Honey,
time.
I Shrunk the Kids recently,
Nice.
and that we were watching that movie. I'm like, there are so many things in this movie that do not exist right now. So many things, and I found myself just like, that is a telephone. Or the parents are home, like, where's the kids? They're like, I don't know.
Answer
Maybe
machines.
they're at the mall.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe we should finally call the cops because we can't find the kids. Maybe go ask the neighbors. Where are your kids? I don't know. but we watched that because I'm geeking about a Disney Plus show called Prop Culture.
Pop culture.
It's awesome.
Yes.
That
Yes.
show is fantastic. Disney is so smart, man.
Yes.
Disney is smart.
Terrible.
So it's
isn't
like
it?
it's a deep dive with this prop collector who goes into the Disney archive, which is awesome, and goes and like does a deep dive into an individual movie, tries to track down props that people can't find, takes Disney archive stuff to like the original actors, and it's very nostalgic.
I'll watch it. Nice.
But they pick like they had Mary Poppins, they had Tron, they had Who Framed
Nightmare
Roger Rabbit,
Before Christmas.
Nightmare Before Christmas, they had Honey I Shrunk the Kids. And it was fantastic because every episode that we would watch, the kids were like, "Dad, can we watch that movie right now?" I'm like, Disney, they
Mhm.
gotcha.
Mhm.
How do they get me here? I'm going to turn around, I'm going to watch the movie again.
Keep you on
So good.
platform.
The kids love that movie. Yeah. We even broke out Honey, I Blew Up the Baby.
The baby. Yep.
Yeah. Ugh, so terrible. They loved it. It was so terrible. I
They're
saw.
rebooting.
I know.
Rebooting Honey I Shrunk the
Shrunk.
Kids.
Is it called Shrunk? For Disney Plus, right?
And Josh Gad,
Oh,
Is it-
really?
the
Nah.
lead.
Nah.
Is that what I've heard?
Is he going to be the little kid, all grown up now?
I thought Rick Moranis was coming back, right? For it. On Disney
Rick
Plus.
Moranis
You
was
would
on-
hope.
I don't think it's confirmed.
He was on Prop Culture. They interviewed him, and he got to see some of his Mr. Zelensky whatever props from
I
the movie.
thought it was confirmed.
I could be wrong. I don't know.
You know,
Speaking of-
once upon a time, I thought Ghostbusters was about to come out, the reboot for that.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Paul Rudd.
Mhm.
Wasn't it supposed to be this, like, right now?
the trailer looked pretty cool too.
It did.
Yeah, the trailer was cool.
Yeah. So speaking of movies, there's a YouTube channel that I came across called Good Bad Movies. No, it's called Bad Good Movies. And I don't even know how I would categorize them. Although a lot of them might because they're like B movies. But they go through and they talk about the history. It's like a documentary style, but I think it's pretty well produced. And I came across the movie Rad, which I've been obsessed with over the last like 2 months. So they had that as an episode. Demolition Man.
Such a good movie.
Yeah, the Last Dragon.
Good Bad Flicks? Is that what you're talking about?
Bad Good Movies.
The Last Dragon?
Yeah, The Last Dragon. It was a kind of a B martial arts film starring a black actor, which was pretty rare at the time in the 80s. It's a lot of fun, but a lot of the movies are almost like cult classics in a way that people have grown to like, even though like in the box office or critic wise they didn't really get very good ratings at all, but they all hold kind of like a special place in people's memories and nostalgia. And I think it's pretty fun to go back and hear that, because a lot of those movies don't get the same attention or treatment as like a AAA movie would for like a documentary style or something like that. So it's a lot of fun to go back and listen to those. That's my recommendation and what I'm geeking out about.
I'm still geeking out about Breath of the Wild.
Nice.
Cause every time I come home for lunch, I walk in the door and my son is like, "You want to play Breath of the Wild?"
Yup.
Yeah.
How I've been
Can
waiting
I
for you
eat
to say
first?
that.
Can I eat first? Yes.
You should tell him that prep your sandwich for you to walk in the door. Cut down some time.
Gosh, I should.
Yeah.
But like,
Have that Dwight Schrute moment where he like feeds you while you're playing.
but it's so cool because it's only in like 10 minutes bursts that we play it, and so I really haven't gotten very far in the game, and it's so big. It is so immensely big. It's insane. But we've been exploring. I have a terrible tendency when I play video games to save the main storyline for last.
I do
and
that.
to do everything
I do
else.
that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will freaking collect 100 golden poops or whatever they call them. The seeds.
They do like
Yep.
little poops.
and then I will go do the main. I have a terrible habit.
I
Every
absolutely
game,
do that for sure.
Because then I level up so much that the main storyline is
It's
like,
like
you're
destroying
gonna
it.
fight the boss.
You're like,
and then,
okay, yeah.
And it's done. Cool,
Yeah.
that was fun.
Elder Scrolls, I'm the same way.
But we've been exploring in Breath of the Wild. We haven't played the main storyline past getting the hang glider, because we've been seeing what everything is involved in this game. And unfortunately, I am like not to the level to take on all of the enemies. But we came across Gerudo Valley and the Divine Guardian. Is that what they call him?
The Divine Beast.
The Divine Beast, the camel. And we talked to the little princess, and my son keeps telling me, "Oh, go here, talk to her. Make Link dress like a girl." Okay, now make it dress like a girl again. No, I want to fight something. I don't want him dressed whatever. But we are on the Divine Beast right now, trying to fight Lightning Ganon, and I am getting my butt handed to me so bad, because like my shield is like a level 2. My sword is like level 20. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to beat this, but we're going to try, dang it. And so for the last 2 days, every time we get a minute, my son is like, "You want to play Breath of the Wild?" "Yes, I do. Let's go try again." And then we'll go play for long enough for my son to get bored of me dying.
Yeah. That was the last beast I beat, so yeah.
Yeah.
That was the first one I beat. And I think it was the
Interesting.
hardest one.
Yeah. I didn't know any better. It's just the last one that I did.
So I'm geeking out. I'm probably going to geek out about that for, according to Anthony, 8 years. So I got time.
My play style for
And
that
I just
game.
found
Yeah.
out.
Good.
I just found out today that there's like a trailer for Breath of the Wild 2, and I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Looks like they're fighting Mumra from Thundercats.
Arf?
That's such a fun game.
My son has it, but I still haven't gotten around to playing it. I don't know if I will.
yeah,
Seriously, for all you guys.
there's so many things I want to make. So many things I want to. I'm like, oh man, I knew it going into it that this was going to be the case, but still, every other thing I see in the game, I'm like, oh, I want to make that. I want to take that thing that somebody made in the virtual space and bring it into the reality, because that's what I do as a maker. I can make it real.
All right, well, it's about that time that I remind everybody that you can go to our website, makinggeeks.com, and check out all the episodes on the homepage of the site. And I'm getting hand signals, and I'm not sure what all that means. They're telling me to steal seconds, or am I too low or too high, or what's going on?
You sound low to me,
All right.
but I don't know if that's for everybody.
Agreed.
It probably is. I'm not really sure why. My levels seem to be off right now. Anyways, go ahead and visit our website, makinggeeks.com. You can get in direct contact with us on the contact page. And once again, you can listen to all of our past episodes right there on the homepage.
And I know it's been a while since we've all been together on a podcast together, hanging out with y'all. But we're still active on social media. So if you want to see Josh's motorcycle, whether it works or not, you can find it over at Josh_makes_stuff. Wes's Minecraft sign that he's making, you can find it Geeksmithing. Sean's pinball machine, which I'm excited to see what theme you came up with. I have my guesses, but I'm still excited to see it. You can see over at Geek Builders, and then if you want to see, I don't know what I'm going to be working on, but whatever it is, if you want to come check it out, you can find me at Once Upon a Workbench.
And we'd like to take this opportunity to thank our patrons over at patreon.com/makinggeeks for helping us keep the show in the air with their financial contributions every week that we publish an episode. We absolutely appreciate each and every one of you, including our top patron, Square Splinter. Thank you so much.
We'd like to thank everybody for hanging out in the live chat. Well, not for the past 3 weeks, but usually every Thursday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we live stream the podcast on our YouTube channel, Making Geeks Podcast. So if you want to come be part of that conversation, we're reading through the chat as we're talking. Sometimes we take questions, sometimes we mention comments. Come on over and hang out with us live while we record. But if you prefer to have this in your podcast player, I know that people's commutes have been messed up lately, so if you're listening to us, we super appreciate it. It means you went the extra mile for us to be a part of your day. We really, really thank you. Those episodes come out every Saturday, so stay tuned for those. And from all 4 of us to all of you, we hope you have a fantastic week.
Take it easy.
See you next time.